Hello everyone, this is Stephen Balch, instructor for Introduction to Macroeconomics at Osaka College. This morning what I want to do is give you just a little bit of feedback on the chapters 3 and 4 activities that I finished grading earlier this week. And then I want to tell you a little bit about what we've got coming up due next week for chapters 5 and 6. So the first thing is, like I said, I did finish grading chapters 3 and 4 activities earlier this week. I believe they were due Tuesday. That was the extended due date because of the weather. So I finished grading those Wednesday morning. So you should have already looked at your grades for those activities and read the grading comments. If you haven't done that yet, go ahead and do that as soon as you can. And let me know if you have any questions at all. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. Now, most of you did well on the chapters 3 and 4 assignment, but there were a few of you that had some difficulties with the problems from the textbook, and also the question that dealt with demand and quantity demanded. So because of that, I have added some videos that I have created that explain the chapters 3 and 4 assignment problems and kind of go over how to solve those step by step, and also a video about demand and quantity demanded and what specifically I was looking for in the answer to that question on the assignment. So especially those of you that had some difficulty with those problems and questions on the assignment, I would really like you to watch those review videos and let me know if you have any questions at all. Watching those reviews will help you to kind of better understand the concepts from those chapters. Those chapters 3 and 4 that we just covered are really they kind of lay the groundwork or the framework for everything else that we'll cover this semester. The basic laws of supply and demand and how markets work are critical concepts to understand, because later on in the semester, starting with chapters 5 and 6 and going all the way through the semester, we're going to build on the basic concepts that we've learned in chapters 1 through 4. So if you don't understand fully, for example, demand and quantity demanded and supply and so forth and prices, then you really need to watch these review videos to kind of help you better understand that before you continue on with other concepts that will kind of build on what we've already learned. Okay? And even those of you that didn't have any difficulties with those questions on the assignment would find it beneficial, I think, to watch those videos just to kind of reinforce those concepts for you before you get started on the remaining activities for this semester. Okay? So just after you watch the videos, if you have questions, just let me know, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. But I think the videos will really help those of you that weren't quite sure what the correct answers should be on those particular parts of the assignment. But overall, most of you did well on the assignment. I did notice there were a few of you that did not put your name on your assignment. Just as a reminder, always make sure you put your name at the top of the first page of your assignment, because I print those out in order to grade them. Okay, it's just easier for me to grade them when they're printed out. And if your name's not on there, then on the actual page that I print, then it's very difficult to grade those. So the first set of assignments that I graded a couple weeks ago, I didn't count points off for that. I just reminded you about the name. But on this particular set of assignments, I went ahead and counted a few points off. So just remember to put your name on there. That's very important. Okay. Also remember to make sure that you're using your own words and doing your own work on the activities for this class. Most of you are, but there are a few of you that are relying way too much on AI and maybe other students in the class and so forth. And just make sure that you're using your own words. Make sure you're using the resources that I provide, because those are going to be tied directly to the assignments and the discussion and so forth. If you use external other sources beyond what's assigned, you're going to run the risk of having some including information that is out of context or not really relevant to the question that you're answering. So just make sure, and also whatever source you use, make sure that you're putting the information in your own words. And like I said, most of you are doing that, but there are a few of you that probably need to kind of focus on that just a little bit more. Okay? All right. So like I said, just let me know if you have questions about chapters 3 and 4. And that brings us to what we've got coming up due next. So if we go to the activities page in Miles Arca, right now we're on the end of week 4. Okay, we just got a couple of days left in week 4. Of course, we just had work due earlier this week. We don't have anything else due this week, but we do have work due early next week, specifically Monday of next week, February 9th. Okay. And of course, it seems like that's coming up pretty quickly based on, our last assignment date. But if you remember, that last due date for chapters 3 and 4 was extended beyond what it normally would be because of the weather. So that's why you have a little bit less time to work on chapters 5 and 6. So hopefully you're already getting started on chapters 5 and 6. If you haven't done that yet, go ahead and do that as soon as you can. Don't wait until Monday afternoon to try to get started on it, because you won't be able to get it all finished. So make sure you're starting on it now, and that way you can finish it up over the weekend or finish it up Monday and not have to try to rush through and try to get everything done on Monday. Okay, so don't let that sneak up on you. Now, let me kind of very quickly tell you what we're going to be covering in chapters 5 and 6. Chapters 5 and 6 are really the first chapters where we are kind of branching off into macroeconomics for the first time. Chapters 1 through 4 that we've already done this semester are really the same chapters 1 through 4 that you would see in microeconomics, because it's basically just the main concepts of economics, scarcity, opportunity cost, supply and demand, markets, prices, all those basic concepts that apply to both micro and macroeconomics. In chapters 5 and 6 for macroeconomics is really the first set of chapters where we're going to actually be looking at macroeconomic concepts specifically. So starting with chapter 5, we're going to be looking at one of the main topics of macroeconomics, which is GDP, gross domestic product. It's a way for us to measure the economic activity of an overall economy, like the U.S. economy. All right, so we're going to be looking at GDP and different measurement systems that we use for that. We'll also look at economic growth and fluctuations, economic indicators, things that can kind of tell us or kind of maybe allow us to kind of forecast what the economic activity is going to be in the future. So there's some economic indicators there that we'll look at. Also, we'll look at aggregate demand and supply, which is kind of a continuation from what we learned about supply and demand in chapter 4. But overall, obviously in macroeconomics, we're looking at overall economies, all the markets, for all the goods and services in an economy. So we're going to be looking at aggregate values. Okay, so we'll look at that. And we'll also look, when we look at aggregate supply and demand, there are different ways that we can measure to measure that and measure, for example, gross domestic product and so forth. So we'll look at that. We'll also, in chapter 5, look at the history of the U.S. economy, how it's changed over the years, in different, the ways that government has kind of changed their stance on the economy and their regulations and laws and so forth over the years. Okay, all right, and so that's chapter 5. And then chapter 6, we're going to look at how we track the U.S. economy and the ways that we can measure economic activity, like the expenditure approach and the income approach. We'll also revisit the circular flow model that we talked about in chapters 1 through 4. We'll kind of revisit that and look at it from a macroeconomic viewpoint. Okay, so circular flow model, and then also chapter 6 we'll look at prices, price indexes, and so forth. Okay, all right. So that's chapters 5 and 6. So be working on those activities. Let me know if you have any questions as you're working on those. So again, you've got chapters 5 and 6, assignment, test, and discussion, all due by Monday of next week, which is February 9th. Okay, remember, again, you've got your textbook, you've got the PowerPoint slides that I posted on the assignment page, also the videos that I posted on the assignment page. Those videos really help you to understand the concepts. Those are really good videos. So if you're not already using those, please do that, because it will help you to really understand the concepts and help you to do well on your assignment and your discussion and your test. All right? So that's really all I have for you for today. So enjoy your weekend. It's supposed to be really nice weather this weekend, so hopefully you're able to get outside and enjoy it a little bit, which is kind of a change from what we've had here lately with the weather. So hopefully everybody has a good weekend, and I will talk to you again sometime next week. Thank you.